Welcome to Yiupo Devlog 3. For the first couple minutes of this video, Yiupo is walking around the same area that he was in the previous video. This is just a short recap of what was already done on the game. I had previously added the river, grass, dirt, sand, and trees. I had made adjustments to the water and added some effects where the water split on the mountains. I had started to add the same effect down the river where the two sections of the river came back together. For under the water, I had darkened the area to simulate what the player should see. As I had said in the previous video, I did not mean for under the water to look so dark, but I really like how it looks. While moving around, I had realized the trees I had added seemed rather large for the character. I also thought my character was a touch large for the landscape, or the landscape a touch small for the character. Although there is initially lots of space to run around on, I fear that the space will get crowded quickly as the game progresses. A touch more space should work. To fix the scaling issue of the character and landscape, I shrunk the character a little bit. I think the feel of the character to the land is much more proportionate. I have not adjusted everything to the character's scale, however, I did shrink the trees. Not only do they not feel too large for the landscape, they no longer feel too large compared to the character. At least, that's my opinion. We are now in the more current works of the game. As you can see, the ocean has been added to the game. As mentioned in previous videos, this was a challenge for me. I am still not very good with splines, but I was able to manipulate them in a fashion that made the ocean look fairly decent. I am considering whether or not the player can swim in the water. If I decide the player cannot swim, I will limit how far in the ocean the player can go. I might still allow the player in the river and the pond on the mountain, as they are not too deep. By limiting if the player can go in the water, I will make the game easier to create. However, it could take away from some features that might make the game fun. This will have to be a decision I make as the game progresses. For now, I am going to turn my attention to other parts of the game, like adding animals. I first added a fox. I watched some videos on YouTube and found a few that helped me add a simple blueprint to the game. The foxes were able to walk around to random points in the game. They will sometimes stop and look around or lay down on the ground. There really isn't any AI to the foxes, as it is just a little bit of code that randomizes whether they are moving or staying idle. As you can see in this video, the foxes also seem to have no bounds. They wander through the river and deep into the ocean. I will later add some blueprint code to stop them from going into the water. As Yiupo is running around the map, you may have noticed a small building, a lean-to shelter, a bench, and a stack of logs. The building is something I put on the screen to start getting an idea of space in the game. It helped me to see how big the trees were compared to everything, as well as the size of the map in Yiupo. I am not really good with spatial judgment, but this was a good start for me. I knew, though, that if I was to get the size of everything more accurate, I needed something more. I purchased an asset pack off of the Epic Market. The pack included the shelter, bench, and stack of logs that are in the game. It also includes some food, rocks, a campfire, dishes, and a tent. Many of these items will come in handy later, as Yiupo will need to start figuring out how to survive on the island. When I purchased this pack, I also purchased a couple other packs. One of them has tools in it that Yiupo can make. The other has buildings that could be used that would be better than just staying in a tent. What I failed to look at before purchasing the Buildings pack is what version of Unreal Engine it could be used in. The pack currently can be used in Unreal Engine 5.0, but not in 5.1, and I am using Unreal Engine 5.1. Hopefully the pack gets updated while I am making this game. I want to use the assets that are in it. If I cannot, I will either design some in Blender or look for another asset pack that will work. I am not trying to make this game a complete assets flip game, but I am not avoiding assets either. I am still very new at creating games with a game engine. The creation of Yiupo is so I can continue learning the ins and outs of Unreal Engine. As I progress with development, I am also continually creating new models in Blender. Over time, I will start having assets of my own creation. For now, I will continue to rely on asset packs to help speed up the learning process of making these games. As Yiupo leaves the camp area, he heads towards the mountains. I am looking for another animal I have in the game. After I got the foxes functioning, I wanted to add a bird to the sky. The only bird that I have in the asset packs right now is a crow. I followed the same procedure for the crow as I did for the fox. I quickly found out that this will not work. The blueprint node that I added to find random points on the screen will only find them along the ground. My crow fell to the ground and got stuck. After messing with it for a little while, he would fall to the ground and then run around on the ground, but he would not fly. I watched some more YouTube videos and found one that used target points. I decided to give that a try and just have the crow fly in a loop. That worked a little bit, but I quickly found another problem. The crow could only fly so high, and then he would be stuck in the same spot that was just inside the bounds for him to fly. I adjusted the boundary box and changed many other things. Nothing seemed to work. I fiddled with this for several days. I don't understand why he is limited to such a short height, and I could not figure out how to fix it. So for now, I am leaving it as is, and I will come back to it later. To recap this video, I have rescaled Yiupo and some of the landscape to make everything more proportional. I have added foxes that can wander around and a bird that starts to fly and then gets stuck. There is now camping items that will be used by Yiupo and tools that will be added shortly. The ocean has been added and the river now has foam where the river splits, comes back together, and where it meets the ocean. I hope you have enjoyed this video and are enjoying watching the game of Yiupo grow. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.